blah, blah, blah. More beakies. There's never any orcs in these things. Oh my Gork and Mork, what is that? Wow! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast, old Big Mek here. And that's right, there was a brand new Warhammer summer preview thing with no orcs in it. Only there was, if you are cunning. I like to kitbash. So, let's get into it. That's right, for those of you that have been living under a rock, it was time for the big summer preview for all of the Warhammer games. And of course, as we expected, there wasn't really anything orky. We all know that orcs are going to be the antagonist of 11th edition 40k, probably coming out next year in 2026. Orcs have already gotten their army for Old World and haven't come back around yet for the second coming, like how they just did the Tomb Kings getting a second release. And then they just had a goblin army in Age of Sigmar, so we're not getting anything there. And all the other little games, you know, your Warcry and your Underworlds and whatnot, they're all going through kind of different various things. And we just got a kill team with the Rekka crew, which is the Breaka Boys / Tank Busters box. So we weren't expecting any orcs at all going in. That being said, we all know that every kit is an orc kit. And some kits are just more orky than others. And there was one particular line that was introduced in this show that is just absolutely the business. And I think will be one of the most popular lines to kitbash for orcs of all time. And I'm not joking. I'm not clickbaiting. I am dead serious. So let's get into it. All right, here we go. The big summer preview. And all the reveals in one place. Of course, there's the new kill team with the Necrons and the Death Watch guys. And there's a helmet, so you too can be a Primaris Lieutenant. Beakies on beakies on beakies on beakies. I'm actually going to do a video on this. These are some good combat patrols. So if you do play Space Marines, definitely stick around for that video coming soon. New Horse Heresy book series, actually the Scouring book series announced. That's going to be pretty cool. Age of Darkness stuff, yeah, Beaky, nobody cares. Little Beakies, nobody cares. Underworld's okay-ish. We're going to come back to this. Flesh Eater Courts and Night Haunts, you know, alright, but not Beakies. Tomb Kings, again, alright, but not Beakies. Short Mad Beakies, you know, nobody cares. But this right here is what we are after. The Helmsmiths of Hashut. All right, so what these guys are, for those of you that haven't been around since the beginning times, are Chaos Dwarves. And the nuance of these is all entirely new. These don't look anything like the old school ones from back in the 90s. And they are coming to Age of Sigmar, not Old World, which is a very interesting choice. Now, let's get into the actual guys here. So here is the, I don't know what he is. But anyways, he's like a leader guy of the Chaos Dwarves. You can see he's got kind of a orky-ish looking face. And when I say orc, I mean with a C. Kind of very J.R. Tolkien, very Lord of the Rings looking. But he's got this big dwarf beard thing going on and these horns and stuff. I mean, let's face it, these guys are really squat and whatnot. They're not going to be that great for making orcs out of, but he is a cool figure. No. What's got me excited are not the figures. What's got me excited are the vehicles, starting with these. These are their Death Shrieker rocket batteries. And I mean, look at these things. Those scream some sort of mech gun. First of all, you've got little spiky things all over them, which can be, you know, kind of orky. You've got these kind of big trim plates and huge armor panels, very chonky tires. The weapons on them aren't very orky, but this chassis, I think this chassis right here with a bunch of orky weapons on it would actually look fantastic. Think about like the Ork Mech Guns kit that gives you everything you need to build all 4 mech guns, but only one chassis. Grab yourself one of these and yeah, have some fun with it. This one right here is especially intriguing because it has, as you see, this big pot that I'm guessing has like chaos energy stuff in it. But like, can you imagine a bunch of squigs coming out the top, like from a Rucka Truck squig buggy tank or something like that to make your squig lava thing, that could be really, really cool. And these missiles right here, well, they are just screaming to have a grot missile added to the top. But if we keep going, this is the thing that absolutely blew my mind. It's a Dominator engine. So what this is a ginormous walker. And of course we know orcs love their ginormous walkers, but look at the size of this contraption and the build out. I am predicting that this base right here is going to be very familiar to those of you with Gorkanauts, if you know what I mean. Basically, this thing right here is way bigger than a Dreadnought or Death Dread or anything like that. Not big enough to be a Stompa, but those of you that like to kitbash Gorkanauts and Workanauts, especially out of Imperial or Chaos Knights, but kind of struggle with the Knight looking a little bit too Imperial, this is going to be a killer option. I mean, first of all, you take this contraption cod piece off here and put an orc piece on, and you're pretty much there, right? You've got these two giant cannon arms. Obviously, you'd want to put like some sort of a close combat weapon on one. You've got this cool face thing here that's kind of like a mechanical squig. They give you all sorts of fire and smoke and billowing. I mean, literally, you just class this thing up with a bunch of nicks and scratches and some orc glyphs, and you're pretty much there. However, it's got an optional build. Look at this! This one's got two, like, warglaive things, so it could do close combat stuff. So clearly, doing one fist with a close combat thing and one cannon arm would be your Gorkanaut or Morkanaut build out, and it would give you a very cool alternative one. The other thing is it's got two different heads. So there's this one head here that's kind of low with these tusks, and then it's got this bull head. Look at the bullhorn like nose piece here, and then the giant horns. He is so ridiculously cool. And I mean, again, this giant infernal engine thing, like, that's orky. It's totally orky. I mean, you can add some exhaust pipes to it if you want, or a supercharger somewhere, but I mean, giant flames coming out of the back is definitely orky. Now, as much as this thing was the star of the show, there were some other things that were pretty cool that I wanted to go over. Again, their characters are pretty cool, but not quite my thing. This guy right here, so if you wanted to kitbash yourself a Captain Badrock and you wanted him to still be really short like the OG, this guy's pretty rad. You put a pirate hat on him and he's pretty much ready to go. If you don't want to use the Underworlds guy that's really, really tall, the Black Powders Buccaneers guy, I think he makes a really, really cool figure, but he is ginormous compared to even modern 40k orcs. This guy might be a better shot at a representation. But then there were these. These are really cool. These Minotaur things, bull centaurs. What got me thinking about these was there are some people that don't necessarily care for Squig Hog Boys, or they've got 3 sets of them or want to have 3 sets of them and don't want to have identical sculpts going on. And while there are a lot of mounted things you can steal to put orcs on, I thought that you could really lean into the Beast Snaga, being half cybernetic thing and put some cyborgs on top of squig body things. I don't know. There's a lot of body horror here that could be really, really cool with making these dudes orcs instead of dwarves on the front half of the horse bull things. I mean, look at these guys. I mean, that is pretty much orc physiology there. You just take off the bull heads and put on orc heads. And I mean, come on, that could be pretty darn cool. Or like if you were doing some chaos orcs, I know there's a lot of guys that do red-skinned orcs that look really cool. These would be really, really rad for that. Or even just, if you wanted to do, orcs that had, I don't know, man, just all sorts of really cool ideas with these. But yeah, I mean, you could use the bullheads if you want, or like I said, I think you throw some orc heads on these guys. And maybe put, some chain axe pieces on the end here if you really wanted to snag it up. You could even put the little grots riding on their back still. I mean, this set right here would be really, really cool. And then apart from that, there's more of the infantry guys. And again, you can see here what I'm talking about with, like, their faces are kind of orky in, like, a Tolkien way, or a, those stupid swamp orcs that nobody really likes. So yeah, I don't know, if you're into kitbashing shorter orcs, or you want some different alternative heads, it could be some good bits and stuff in there. These guys were really getting orky. I think they are because they're hobgrots, so they're actual grots. They're those stupid swamp guys that are aligned. I don't know. And another thing, so that's the only actual orcs that were in the preview, and none of us orc players even actually care. But yeah, then there was this thing. This thing is super duper rad. This is like the leader of the whole army, ORK Tar, and he's on a mechanical flying bull. Now, when they first showed this, I was like, okay, that's cool. I could get into this. Like, I could see doing some sort of conversion with this. If you wanted to make like a mechanical DACA jet, would be really rad. Or if you were doing some sort of like, I don't know, Orkperium thing and wanted a flyer that wasn't a DACA jet or a Valkyrie or something, there's a lot of options there. But then I was like, or you could probably leave off the wings and just use the mechanical bull to make a different beast boss on Squigosaur, right? And then they showed the alternative build. Look at this guy! Look at that giant bullhead. It's so cool looking with the fire and the smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe on his forehead. And again, there's like an orc-ish dude on it, which is really cool. But yeah, you could totally leave this whole giant chair thing off the back and throw an orc on there and a beast boss and make an alternative beast boss on Squigosaur. And again, leave the wings off if you want, or put the wings on. They are mechanical. I think this is really cool. There is potential here for all sorts of kit bashing goodness. I also thought about like non-orc things. Like if you are a player, say you've got like a beaky army that's like into flying things or whatnot, like I could see like a salamanders guy on here and turn him more into a dragon than a bull. Or do, you know, the Minotaurs chapter or something like that on there. I mean, there is potential here. There is a lot of potential in this kit for some seriously cool kit bashing. They've never made anything like this. That is a fully mechanical flying monster. But yeah, so that's the Helmsmiths of Hashut. So the two biggies are definitely the giant flying mechanical bull guy, and then the big Gorkanaut looking fellow. Although, again, those Minotaurs were pretty cool. But yeah, this right here, that's got potential for days. Because, yeah, even I will fully admit that the Gorkanaut isn't exactly for everybody. It's kind of, well, I'll just grab him. There we go. So he's, you know, he's kind of got the big belly thing going on with the stompy feet. And yeah, I mean, the head is cool and the arms are cool, although this arm being really long and kind of like Wall-E looking and this one being really short definitely turns some people off. And yeah, I mean, you can leave the doors off or open them up or do some different things with them. But I mean, ultimately, as orky as he is and as cool as he is, this is definitely not the aesthetic for everybody. So thinking about that giant walking bull thing where all the bulk is up high instead of down low is really, really rad, especially with all the like smoke and fire and stuff coming out of him. I want to kit bash that so bad. I am like ready to do that one. As soon as that one comes out, I definitely want to get my mitts on it and see how it compares size-wise. So the base that it's on is a round base, and it's probably smaller than this one, but I think it's the really big round base. Because if you compare the size of like the little rocks and the little grass tufts and stuff on its base to the ones on like the round bases with those batteries, those guns we were looking at, the tufts are definitely a lot smaller looking on the big walker guy. So I think that gives you a sense of his scale. And then if you look at the picture of the whole kind of army together, they've really released of it, but you can see that the round bases that they're using for that giant siege weapon thing, actually that's a lot bigger than I thought or realized. Okay, on closer inspection, I think I got these backwards a little bit. That siege weapon is a lot bigger than I thought. That's the new giant round base that like the new Krieg giant artillery pieces are on, that are basically like a centerpiece model. So it's not the smaller ones like what a Met gun would go on. So that chassis might be way too big to make a Met gun, but now the nose of that thing could make a really excellent alternative battle wagon nose, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so if that's on that really truly giant one, then maybe that walker thing is in between like Death Dread and Gorkanaut sized, because that base appears to be like the one that the Beast Boss and Squigosaur is on. But again, that's still pretty big. I mean, if we put him up to this, you know, again, not nearly as bulky, but yeah, that walker is going to be a lot taller than even where the sword piece is on here. I still think it could work out, especially, like I said, you put gubbins on the shoulders and stuff. And again, could look a lot better than a knight. So yeah, I'm really excited for these kits. I want to get my hands on a lot of the bits from them and see what to do with them. The infantry guys, you know, depending on what your kit bashing is like, you could totally do stuff with. Those minotaurs could be kind of cool. But again, those two vehicles and that flying mechanical bull thing are really, really rad. But that walker, I think, has potential for days to be the basis of an excellent either alternative like Gorkanaut, or depending on the size. Like I said, he's definitely way bigger than a Death Dread, plus Death Dreads are great. There's no reason to really get bash them outside of just stealing another Dreadnought. But if you wanted to run like an old school, you know, like Forge World, you know, like a Mega Dread or a Mecha Dread kind of thing, those are bigger than Death Dreads, but smaller than Gorkanauts. And of course, the Forge World kits are incredibly hard to find and pricey when you do, and they're resin and garbage, and nobody wants to do them anyway. So yeah, if you were looking for a plastic alternative instead of having to 3D print something or something like that, I think this could really be the business. So yeah, that is the orkiest kits to come out in the big summer preview 2025. All right, so that's what I got for you in this episode. If you found something that you liked, or you had some other ideas from that preview show, definitely let me know down in the comments below. You guys know I'm always down to see what kind of kit we can orkify. All that being said, I do expect us to start getting some ork previews after the holidays, probably spring of next year, when they're going to start leaking stuff for, again, the big 11th edition launch, where orcs are definitely going to be the antagonists. But we'll probably get a Christmas box too, or holiday box too, because we pretty much always do. If I remember right, last year we didn't. There was that one random box with the Stompa and the boys and stuff in it. If I remember right, that wasn't the holidays. It was just kind of like this random army box time frame that they did. So yeah, so it's been a minute. But yeah, these were some really cool kits to come out. I'm excited for kit bashing on them. And yeah, when I get my hands on one, you will definitely catch that video here on The Red Ones Go Fasta. Now, all that being said, don't forget that you've got just a few days left to enter my heavy metal contest, which is really, really cool. The rules are super simple, and it's free for everyone. You just get yourself an old school metal mini like this here OG Defcopter, and you post a before photo and an after photo of getting at least some paint on it at my Discord linked down below. Again, totally free to join, and you are in. And basically when August comes around, I'm going to throw everybody's name into this here red squig hat, and we're going to draw a bunch of winners, where you can win literally this Defcopter as well as the OG Gazgul and Makari. I've got an entire squad of original tank busters in metal, as well as a squad of orc knobs in metal. There's a war boss. There's some really old school squiggies like Rogue Trader era. There is an OG Abaddon. There's a whole lot of really cool stuff. And everybody, I don't want to say everybody, we're going to do a lot of winners. So instead of doing the normal contest with like a big giant grand prize, maybe a second or a third, we're just going to draw a whole bunch of names so that we can really spread the love and just get people to really appreciate the awesomeness that is old school minis. And it doesn't even have to be Games Workshop. Any metal mini will do, any mini that is partially metal, even if it is a resin version of a mini that came in metal, because that's definitely a thing. You can do it. If you're not sure if your mini qualifies, just tag me on the Discord and I will answer. I can tell you that's been like a 99% yes. We just want you to paint something cool and old school. That being said, if you want more than one entry, there are ways to do that. First of all, you could support the channel here by being a member on the YouTube or over on our Patreon. Every month that you are doing one of those things is another entry. So you got 1 month left, but again, you could double up. You could do a YouTube membership and a Patreon if you want. That would give you 2 extra entries, 1 for each for July of 2025. And of course, there's always our merch store, theredonesgofasta.com, where you can get things such as our snapback hats, the Red Squig shirts, and of course, the really rad Go Fasta artwork by BenBam. These shirts are absolutely flying off the shelf. We've sold a ton of these already all over the world. Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Netherlands. I can't even remember. I got to do a world map with all the different countries that we've sent these to, which is really, really, really cool. So if you're not sure, definitely check out the website, We've got a production in the US and a production in the EU that can ship to a lot of different places. I think Asia is still kind of the only place that it's really rough at. But yeah, these are really cool. The hoodie version of these are full color, which are even cooler. So, you know, yeah, if you're a hoodie person, definitely do that. And of course, we have garrote sizes for everything and ladies cuts for those of you that like that as well as a bunch of other cool stuff such as our water bottle and some new pins that you can put on your bags, banners, and things like that. So every single item you purchase on the web store through July of 2025 gives you an extra entry into the contest. And of course, you can always enter for free by painting up a really cool metal mini. And all that being said, I do also want to preface this again. These are my own personal minis for my own personal collection. I am, like me, just me, is going to box this up and send this to you. So there is no restrictions. You can live absolutely anywhere in the world. I can ship all over the world. So if you win this and you are not in the United States, that is totally okay. I will pay to ship this to your door so that you can enjoy your winnings. So no matter where you live in the world, you can enter this contest and win some really cool swag. All right, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. There are more updates coming here on the channel that you definitely don't want to miss. If you've seen the post, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the post, you should definitely check out the Discord. There is some sneak peek preview photos there of an absolutely amazing old school orc army that is the rarest stuff you have never seen before, and we are going to do massive features on this army. It is going to be super duper rad. And then of course we're still doing the Still Mania thing. I've been working on my speed freaks. In fact, little preview there. So we will be wrapping that one up here in July, and then of course doing our big giveaway in August of all the metal stuff for the heavy metal contest. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I'm going to get back to work. You go out there and have some fun too. And until next time, Wargammer!